Howdy, historians. What's going on? This is Mr. Montgomery, first recording during the great coronavirus pandemic of 2020. This is virtual classrooms. Welcome to them. Virtual learning, online learning. Here we go. So yeah, life's getting weird. But we're going to make it work. All right, we got stuff to do. This is actually going to be a nice normal part of your day. So this is the first lesson we're going to do. I'm probably going to break the age of imperialism into a couple different parts here. Hopefully you're able to check out the welcome video kind of talking about how things are going to work here in APUS for the next few weeks. If you haven't, go back, check it out, because there's a quick little discussion quiz to go along with it. So, you know, we're going to make the best of it. We're going to make this work. All right, so this part we're going to follow along with the lecture outline. This is just like a normal flip video. All right, so just stay with me. All right, and you can, of course, always, you know, find the lecture outline online, the topics page. Just in case you're wondering where we are, this is what we're going to do today. All right, so I'll probably break this into a couple of parts. Like the first part will probably be causes and justification, Spanish-American War. Then we'll probably like Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson, and effects. All right, so we're going to break it into a couple pieces, make it a little bit easier to handle. You know the deal. Pause it, rewind it, take notes as we go. Otherwise, it'll just be like we're in class, but we're not, or we are. It's virtual classroom, talking a robot voice. Oh, man. All right, here we go. Okay, justifications and causes for imperialism. Now, I suppose I should back up a little bit. What is imperialism? Imperialism is when we go out and we build an empire. We are building an empire. We're going to basically, the U.S. is going to branch out, become a bigger player in the international scene, and start, you know, flexing our muscle around the world, start taking countries over, start exerting our influence. We're going to move away from what Washington wanted us to do, which was to just focus on America, and we're going to start to move out in the world. So there's a few different causes for building an empire. One, closing to the frontier. The frontier. We need something to conquer. You know, we always need something new, like a common enemy, a common goal to conquer and explore. And at this time, we need something new because the frontier has been closed for a few years. So we're going to go conquer some of our neighbors and some other corners of the world. Industrialization played into imperialism a lot as well. We needed new markets and we needed new materials in order to continue our economic growth. We need markets to sell industrial and agricultural products to. Right? So a market is just a new area to sell stuff to. So if we can go take over areas in Southeast Asia like the Philippines, well, then we can sell them stuff and we can also buy their materials at cheap prices because we took them over. Right? So we can find materials and we can find markets. Hey, farmers are going through a lot of problems. Well, let's find some more markets. Then they can sell their stuff. Then they can make money. Then we have less problems. And raw materials were a big part of it too. Eventually we need a lot of sugar. Hey, Hawaii's got sugar and bananas, so let's annex Hawaii and take them over and make them a state. So we need markets and we need materials. We need a little bit of a flex too for international Darwinism. We are the best country in the world. That's the view that's starting to come out. So we want to start to be best on the international scene. So Darwinism, which we had seen before in a social context, starts to now be moved into an international context where it's like, hey, we have the best government in the world, so we should then, you know, exert our influence in other areas so that way we can teach others about our amazing democracy. So that way we can start to, you know, make others as fit as us. We're even going to see other things like more mission work, which is a nicer form of international Darwinism. But, you know, Uncle Sam had taken over a lot of different things. It was time for a new suit, right? So as we look at this political cartoon here, get that all the way to the front, right? So you got McKinley here, President McKinley. He's going to be the first to help us start building an empire. We've got California, the Gadsden Purchase, the Louisiana Purchase, Florida, Texas, right? We've taken over the continent, all the stripes on Uncle Sam. Now, here we go. Let's get the Samoan Islands. Let's get Guam. Let's get the Philippines, Puerto Rico, Alaska, Hawaii. U.S. foreign policy rests on taking over all these new areas. So that's a good idea, a good embodiment of what's going on with imperialism at this time. McKinley will start it, and others will continue it. So we need something to conquer. We need new materials. We need new markets. We want to bring our awesomeness to other countries. Now, how do we start to justify this? Well, there's a few different justifications we have for this empire building. Part of it comes from an idea of what it means to be a world power. there was a big idea at this time about if you were going to be a world power, you had to have a more aggressive approach to foreign policy, and you need to go out and kind of like flex your muscle on the international scene by taking things over. All right, I'm just going to grab this real quick because I don't have my marker ready to go. So there is this book written by, come on now. Haha, there we go. All right, so there's this guy, Alfred Mahan. And he wrote The Influence of Sea Power Upon World History. This came out in 1890. All right, so Alfred Mahan writes The Influence of Sea Power Upon World History. And the main idea in this book is that world power was based on how strong your navy was. And it actually makes a lot of sense when you look at the rise of the Spanish and the English. It makes sense that if you have a strong navy, you're going to be powerful. Portuguese, right? Dutch. So Alfred Mahan says, listen, the U.S.'s security, status, and world power is going to depend on having a strong navy. And then if we have that strong navy, we can use it to promote a more aggressive foreign policy. And then we increase our world power. And then we have more markets. We have more materials. We have all this stuff that we need to be big and powerful. So this was a really prominent book by Alfred Mahan that a lot of people read. And then we start to build our empire in 1898 because people read it and it made sense to them. When it came to religion, there's a guy by the name of Josiah Strong. All right, he wrote Our Country. Good typing. 1885. All right, he said God selected us to civilize the rest of the world. It was our Christian duty to conquer and civilize others. All right, so a little bit of social Darwinism here creeping into our religion. But again, this starts to give people a justification for, hey, God says that the Anglo-Saxon and the Americans are the best, so we need to go teach everybody how to be the best. So that's another justification for imperialism and empire building at this time. And then business. In general, business leaders said, yeah, we also can justify our imperialism because we need to continue to expand to fuel our economic growth. So if we want our economy to continue to grow, if we want our economic prominence to continue to increase, well, then we need to go out and we need to build some empires so that way we can use these new areas as part of our economic machine. Like Hawaii was a prize jewel. There's sugar, there's pineapple, which people are actually very excited about. There's bananas people are very excited about. So all of these things we can use in our economic machine, and then we can get those materials, bring them back to the U.S., turn them into a product. Good thing. But then we can also sell stuff to those areas as well. So when it comes to America in the age of imperialism, we've got lots of different reasons, causes, and justifications for why we're going to go out and why we're going to start to build this empire. So we'll take a look at the Spanish-American War. That's one of the specific things we're going to look at. We'll look at some others as well. But, America right at this time, whether it's missionaries or businessmen or politicians or military leaders, they're looking for opportunities for the United States, opportunities in East Asia, the Pacific Islands, Latin America, to start to show off our power, start to show off our influence, and to try to use these things to bolster our economy. So there's lots of different factors playing into our empire building that happens at this time. But it's a real radical departure from the previous foreign policy that basically advocated for staying isolationist like Washington had. So lots of changes going on here. You know what? I'm actually just going to put this as part one. This is our little intro, justifications and causes of imperialism. And then I'm going to come back and hit up the Spanish-American War. So check that one out. All right, thanks. Good job so far.